Hello and welcome to Behind the Scenes, a podcast where we explore the intersection of art, culture, and big ideas. I'm your host, Sean Malone, creative director for the Foundation for Economic Education, creator of Out of Frame, a video essay series on YouTube. Here, as usual, is our wonderful co-host, Jennifer Mafsanti, lovely writer and one of my all-time favorite people. And then, of course, Paul Nelson, our senior marketing manager at FEE and all things social media at our organization. So, how are you guys doing after we just watched the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness? Are you feeling excited about phase 4 or 5 or whatever the heck phase we're on now?
Can I just go ahead and submit my petition that we not do any more Marvel movies, please? I'm about done.
I feel like Paul would have seconded that a while ago.
Yeah. I mean, Thor's coming out, so we might have to do one more. I don't know.
We will probably have to do Thor, but
I guess.
Yeah, boy. I mean, I feel almost exhausted thinking about talking about this movie. I don't know if a lot happened and like nothing happened. And there felt like there was zero reason for almost anything in this movie.
It felt like there was zero reason for this movie. Why is this movie?
Money.
Money. Although, so as I understand it, there were a lot of reshoots, which feels that way.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, I just, usually we open these shows with a little bit of small talk and talking about, sports and, books that we like and stuff like that. I just want to dive into this because I'm kind of fascinated by the sort of, for me was just like kind of an epic failure of a film. Like I was really irritated by it, to be honest. And then I kept thinking about this great advice, this really good writing advice. I think Matt Stone and Trey Parker sort of popularized it a few years ago. They were on a panel and they kind of talked about this idea of writing as like plot writing anyway, as something that has to organically come from decisions and choices that characters make. And so the difference between a plot that goes, and then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, and a plot where something happens because a character made a decision, and then that has ripple effects that causes something else. And so instead of and then, you're talking about this happens, therefore that happens. But then this happens, therefore this other thing happens. And having it be driven by choices that characters are making. And while I certainly understand Doctor Strange's like broad motivation in this movie, the vast majority of this movie just felt like, and then America Chavez kicks a hole in the universe and they land somewhere else, and then an exposition dump, and then kick a hole in the universe, they go somewhere else, exposition dump. And that just ended up being the entire formula of the movie. And it went on a long time, like a shockingly long time. So I'm actually curious with both of you guys, like, do you understand this? Could you tell me the plot of this movie? Could we collectively explain in a not super spoilery way, like what happened in this?
It was 2 hours and 12 minutes of just trying to get to a few moments of cool.
Yeah.
That was cool?
They weren't that cool.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
They were trying, Paul.
They were trying
to get there.
They were trying real hard. But
all right. Paul, what's the point of this movie? What was this movie trying to say? What did Doctor Strange want?
So Doctor Strange 2 Electric Boogaloo, I feel like that's the first time that's really fit.
That fit real well.
Hey, yeah, works.
So basically we find a Doctor Strange after the blip. He is not dust anymore. He is attending his former girl. I don't remember.
Girlfriend.
Doctor Strange 1 girlfriend.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. I mean, she was pretty important character in Doctor Strange 1.
Honestly, I didn't remember her from the first movie, so I was like, oh, okay. Hey, girlfriend got away. So he was at her wedding.
He was a jerk to her. He was like, she was trying to help him after he broke his hands, and then he was like,
checks out.
Bad guy.
And he gets pulled away. There's a massive disturbance in New York City. Surprise, surprise. And he goes to save the day. He finds a evil devil octopus thing.
It was a beholder. I love this. It was a D&D. It was a D&D monster. There's a D&D monster called the Beholder, which is just this floating eyeball with tentacles.
Are you trying to tell me that there is a universe where D&D is like just real?
It must be. I mean, it was a really giant beholder, to be fair, but beholder nonetheless. Although it couldn't do what beholders can, like freeze people and have like eye powers and stuff. And this one didn't seem to have that. But
just a big giant eye,
just
big giant
smash.
Eyeball. That was gross too. Before we
that was so gross.
Before we started this episode, we were talking about how like gory this movie could be, and man, I like they really did. Doctor Strange just ripped that eyeball right out.
And they added in a pop sound effect.
Mm-hmm. There was audible disgust in the theater when I went to go see this. Like everyone around us was like, ugh.
Ripping eyeballs out is a pretty bold one. But this is a Sam Raimi movie, to be fair. Like this is still directed by, famed horror director of Evil Dead, Drag Me to Hell, Also, Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3, where evil Tobey Maguire
struts his stuff. Didn't he also do that really bad Wizard of Oz movie?
Yeah, no, Burton did the. Well, wait, Oz? No, who did the
Oz, Great and Powerful?
Yeah, no, I think that was Tim Burton. Am I wrong?
Well,
hold on, I'll have to look, but I'm trying to remember back when I'm like, I don't want to be confusing that with the Alice in Wonderland thing that Tim Burton also did, but or did. But anyway,
yes, it was Raimi.
All right, going back to this. So Doctor Strange, continue where you left off. Doctor Strange battles an eyeball.
He saves a girl that he saw in his dream the night previous, and he tries to figure out who it is, and basically figures out that she is the only multi-dimensional being in all of the multiverses. Her name is America Chavez, and she can't control her power. But he does know that there are demons coming after her, and he has to figure out who's sending the demons, who is trying to take her power. So he travels to see Wanda in her solitude, her
like apple farm,
Fortress of Apple Solitude, and discovers that it's actually her that is the big baddie and is coming after this poor, sweet, innocent America Chavez. And CGI ensues. 2 hours ensue, an hour and a half, and surprise, surprise.
Okay,
things happen.
So like it sound. This is the kind of thing where like I feel like if we told this plot like on most movies, and you just revealed that Wanda is the bad guy, like I feel like that would be a horrible spoiler. But it literally happens like 15 minutes into the movie.
It's in the first act.
And it is the first act of the film is basically like Strange goes to Wanda. He lets her know all this stuff is going on. And then literally immediately is like, oh, wait, I shouldn't have told you any of this because you're the one sending the demon things and whatever.
For all Doctor Strange is super smart, he sure is super dumb.
Yeah, so this is a big problem I've got with this movie in general, but I had this problem with Spider-Man No Way Home too, and unfortunately they're really doubling down on it in this movie, which is like Doctor Strange did something really, really dumb in Spider-Man, right? Like opening a portal to other dimensions and trying to cast this spell that could break the universe, which he knew could break the universe and which he warned Peter could break the universe. And then also like not concentrating or letting Peter, like not asking Peter all the necessary questions before embarking on the spell, and then being able to be distracted. I mean, Doctor Strange is the master of the mystic arts, we are told. We are told he is somebody who has studied tremendously to get to the point where he has this wealth of knowledge about magic and about spells and even about whatever the Karmitage folks know about the multiverse and all of those kinds of things. And he is the quintessential adult in the room, right? Like, at least as far as he's been established so far. He's arrogant and he's kind of a jerk sometimes, but
he's a surgeon.
He's extremely competent, is what we are led to believe for everything we've met, and including throughout like Avengers, Infinity War, and Endgame, right? Like, he is exceptionally competent. And then he does something in Spider-Man that is just boneheaded in its incompetence. And then this movie is him nonstop doing things that are boneheaded in their incompetence, including just going to Wanda and asking her questions and not recognizing that she's got an entire sort of fabrication built up around her, and it's all illusion. It's upsetting to me that like characters that you establish to be one thing and then you kind of wreck them. And by the way, this is what I'm worried a little bit about Thor, is that I love Thor Ragnarok. I mean, we did our rankings, and Thor Ragnarok rated very, very high in Marvel movies, but Thor Ragnarok strikes a really good balance of Thor being serious and emotional and even like princely or sort of kingly in some cases, and also like funny, and making jokes and all of those kinds of things. And it really leans into the wackiness of everything. What I'm worried about Love and Thunder, though, is that it's just like the dial's been cranked to 11 on the comedy. And that's going to completely undercut that character, because that character is thousands of years old. He can't be and he's also like one of the most powerful beings in the universe. He can't be like nerfed and then made the butt of a joke, but that's exactly what happened in Endgame, right? So if we pick up with Fat Thor and all of those things, I think we're going to have a similar problem as Doctor Strange, where it's like Doctor Strange was originally established as being this great, super competent dude. Spider-Man kind of wrecks it, and then this movie just runs with that bad idea and makes it like irrecoverable, basically, at this point. In the same way, I suppose, that WandaVision took Wanda, who was suffering grief and all these interesting things that could have been great for a hero to experience, and turned her into a utterly irredeemable evil character. And that's probably the best thing I can say about this movie, is that, they just went hard on Wanda being evil.
Yeah, I'll give it that. At least they didn't try to just completely gloss over what happened in WandaVision. Like, she was the bad guy, and it was very clear that she was the bad guy. And yeah, but at the same time, they brought in so many weird MacGuffins as though they had been clearly established in previous canon as being important, except that they hadn't been. And so we're like, what is even this now?
Yeah, you got to find the Darkhold, then you got to find this book of Shanti or whatever it is, and then you got to find, I don't know. I mean, we're just popping around from universe to universe. We got to find evil Doctor Strange. We got to find, I don't know. It's whatever.
I think so. The movie, I think, just in general, I think dear listeners, you can tell this movie sucks. And I would strongly encourage you to wait till it gets on Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
But what is, I think for me, and I don't know how you guys feel, but I think Marvel's in a weird place right now, because all of their characters moving forward are based around magic, really, and there's really nothing holding them down. Like the big MacGuffin, the book of whatever that Doctor Strange is trying to get to, literally says
something.
It gives you the spell for whatever you want.
Yeah,
and it's like that. How can you tell an actually interesting story if all you can say, oh, there's a book, it does whatever I want?
Well, it doesn't do whatever he wants. I think what they said is that it will give him whatever he requires to do the thing. So it's the book version of the Room of Requirement in Harry Potter, which is fine, except that it from a narrative standpoint, and this is the problem with Harry Potter sometimes as well, from a narrative standpoint, you have Deus Ex Machina, the book, right?
Yeah.
Literally anything completely unprepared. I mean, it's the problem, some of the problems that we had with like Secrets of Dumbledore. And if you look at a lot of the Harry Potter stuff, there are problems with introducing magical concepts with no rules. There's no clarity on the rules in Harry Potter's magic system. So
that was another thing that got on my nerves while I was in the theater, is that there were absolutely no limits on anybody's power and like what they were able to do in this movie. Yeah. I'm like, you have phenomenal cosmic power here, but there's no itty bitty living space. There's no trade-off. There's no drawback. Right. And so
well, and yeah, so Wanda, so early on, Wanda attacks Carmitage, right? Like, so she figures out she wants America Chavez. She wants the ability. So this is all weird to me anyway, because if her Darkhold and all those things like didn't teach her how to, traverse the multiverse, then first of all, how did she figure out that America Chavez existed? How did she track her? None of those things were made clear at all. But in any case, I don't know how she even knew about any of this stuff. So that's all bizarre. But then she attacks Carmitage because they're protecting America and saving America. But she has absolutely it's not even difficult for her to destroy. I mean, she just utterly decimates their entire army of trainees and actual masters and stuff. It's a magic training center essentially, right? Like this is where Doctor Strange learned the secrets of the universe and where they are training dozens of other magic wielders and sorcerers. And it was like nothing for Wanda. She just mowed through everybody like it wasn't even an issue. And then the same thing. I mean, all right, so all right, let's just do spoilers because we got to get into some of the multiversal jumps and all that kind of stuff. And to do that, obviously, we got to talk about some of the cameos and sort of special appearances, let's say. The biggest one, obviously, being they end up in a universe where Doctor Strange gets arrested and brought to the he goes voluntarily actually to the mansion, this universe's version of his own Sanctum Sanctorum, right? Mm-hmm. But in this universe, their Doctor Strange is dead, and they have a statue of him out front, and it is in fact Baron Mordo who is running, who's I guess Sorcerer Supreme or whatever. That actually was cool to me. I wanted to see Baron Mordo again, although I kind of wanted to see the real Baron, the 616 Baron Mordo. I wanted to see the one that was actually mad at Doctor Strange, whatever. And then they introduce a group that is actually a group it's a long-standing group from Marvel Comics called the Illuminati. And the Illuminati in Marvel is a group of basically Marvel's most powerful Karens. They are all central planners. And so Captain America has periodically appeared as a member of the Illuminati. And so you have a couple characters like Captain America, sometimes T'Challa, Black Panther. They will go against the group, but typically you have Reed Richards, Professor X, Tony Stark. You have all of the smartest people in the Marvel universe, and Doctor Strange, and they are always the ones who are like, yes, we'll make a decision that's going to affect billions and billions of people. And we alone will plan out every aspect of this. And it's always like, you know, Captain America on a rare occasion is like, hey, maybe you shouldn't be planning for, you know, trillions of people across the galaxy or the universe, whatever. And that's what this was, right? So in this case, and this is the huge spoiler, we see Professor X, and, you know, look, say what you want about the rest of this. Seeing him in the yellow hover chair was pretty fun. You know, we see Professor X, we see a alternate version of Black Panther, Reed Richards, played by John Krasinski, which everybody wanted to see, and that was super exciting.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say I enjoyed that one.
They brought Black Bolt back from the horrifyingly bad Inhuman series, which is funny. But I actually like seeing Inhumans. I like seeing Black Bolt just because I know what Black Bolt's capable of. But that show was terrible, and so that was not exactly an exciting cameo. And then, of course, they brought Peggy Carter as Captain Carter, which they just pulled straight out of the What If series, right? And I hate that character for a lot of reasons. Peggy is a great character all by herself. It kind of makes me mad that when characters that are already really good get tokenized and take over some other thing like that. Like, just make Peggy, just like, you've created something great with Peggy. Like, let her be great as herself. Like, she doesn't need to be Captain America. It's weird. And it's insulting to her, and it's insulting to her as like a unique whatever. Anyway, so the reason why I wanted to get into this is because, once again, Wanda has absolutely no trouble whatsoever decimating the most powerful people in this universe. So Wanda's unstoppable. I mean, like Professor X, Black Bolt, you know, this version of Captain America, Captain Britain, whatever. You know, Reed Richards. Whew. Nothing.
No.
Nothing.
Quite literally takes them apart.
Yeah. Reed's. Oh boy. That Mr. Fantastic ribboning was quite the thing. Yeah, pretty gross scene in some ways as well. Like, there's a lot of like kind of, it's a little bit of a horror show, classic Sam Raimi horror fest in there, except for without the red blood, because you can't do that in a PG-13 movie or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that would be scary, except for I don't care at this point.
Right. There's I don't care. I mean, John Krasinski showing up, playing Jim as Reed, as whatever his name is, Fantastic Four, whatever. But I'm just so surprised that Marvel just kind of rolled out Patrick Stewart and Reed Richards.
Yeah, Reed Richards.
And just killed them 3 minutes later. It makes
but
no
they're
sense.
But see, here's the problem. And here's really the core problem with all of this. And we talked about it. I think we talked about this last time on this. All universe stuff becomes a huge problem. Multiverse stuff becomes a huge problem for these companies because it renders everything meaningless. This is just the Reed Richards of Universe 842 or whatever the heck that universe was, right? It doesn't matter. There's infinite universes. So, you know,
stakes
we can go.
Real?
The stakes aren't real. Yeah, you can go back and Doctor Strange 3 will have Doctor Strange come back to his real 616 universe. 616 is what Marvel calls it's like canon, you know, real universe, like Prime universe stuff. And so, yeah, he can come back to his regular universe, and at some point he'll realize that just like 10 blocks away, there's the Baxter Building, and the Fantastic Four have just been up into space, and they've just got powers, and it'll all be real inside our universe. And Krasinski can come back as Reed Richards in the real version of Fantastic Four or whatever they want to do. You know, like they have no limit on what they can do because the stakes aren't really meaningful anymore. At least with Thanos. I mean, Thanos had tremendous power to like reverse time and do all these things, But there is still a limit to that, because if everybody in this universe dies, the universe is gone, right? Like it is the one singular universe. And so if you have another universe where Thanos snaps his finger and half the population dies, well, that's just another universe. It's fine. Whatever. There'll be another universe where Thanos didn't do that. And another universe where he snapped his finger and everybody turned into butterflies. And another universe where, he, whatever, like it's meaningless at this point. And I think this problem is going to come up again and again and again, every future movie until they find a way to sort of break the multiverse and combine everything, which is pretty much how all these companies have handled these stories over time anyway. Things get way out of hand, and then they have some big event comic that rips the multiverse apart, which is I'm sure that's where they're going to go with Kang and everything else. And then you end up with like one universe left, like a unified universe, Yeah.
It really does baffle me that they went this direction, because you have, on the other hand, you got DC over here making Polka Dot Man a thing. But also, I guess, even Marvel, too, because the first Doctor Strange movie was, it did fine. Mm-hmm. But this movie is massive. It is making, it's at $450 million worldwide, the box office so far. That's one weekend. And that's massive. That's huge. And so it shows the strength that Marvel still has to create characters. And I don't know why, instead of just trying to, here's Tobey Maguire, just make a new character, or the black chord sound dude. I make him have him have a movie. You can do it. You've already made people like Doctor Strange.
They tried, right? They tried with the Inhumans TV show.
I've never even heard of Inhumans TV show.
I'd never heard of it either.
Well, it was like half a season, to be fair. But Marion and I actually went to when the Inhumans show came out. So Inhumans ended up being kind of a spin-off of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So this is a whole, we're going back like 5-10 years, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. actually overlapped a lot with Inhumans, because at the time Marvel had no ability to use mutants in any of their movies, right? They didn't own the rights to X-Men. Part of not owning the rights to X-Men was not owning the rights to mutant as a concept. This is also, by the way, why Wanda and Pietro were not mutants in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. They were like creations of Strucker and his experiments with the Infinity Stones, right? So, but Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they did have Inhumans, and Inhumans are basically mutants. Basically, Inhumans are they live on the moon, actually, like a secret base on the moon, and they have this thing called Terrigen Mists, which when they sort of come of age as young teenagers or whatever, their people go through this process of being like infused with this Terrigen Mist thing. And they come out the other side of that. If they don't die, basically, they come out the other side with superpowers. And those superpowers
Are you telling me that they get mystified?
They get mystified, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So but their powers are unique to them, right? In the same way that mutants' powers are unique to them. And I don't remember why Inhumans were created in the first place, but it's basically the same thing as mutants, except for, legally speaking, Marvel Studios was able to use Inhumans and not mutants, right? Not X-Men. So yeah, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had a whole overlapping sort of big connection to Inhumans. In fact, one of the main characters, Quake, Daisy, whatever her name was in the show, she was an Inhuman, actually, and had like earthquake generating powers as an Inhuman. And then, they tried to do a spinoff. And when they did the spinoff, they had the first episode of the spinoff, like 2-part episode, like movie length episode, hour and a half ish. And they had a theatrical premiere, and Marion and I went to it. We went to like an IMAX theatrical premiere of the first Inhumans show, and it was all set in Hawaii, and the effects were horrible, and we watched those effects on IMAX, which was amazing. It was TV effects blown up on a 40-foot screen. It was yikes. Yeah. And then, the show ran for, I don't know, 13 episodes or something like that. And then it got canceled and whatever. But that same actor, the guy who played Black Bolt's like the king of the Inhumans. And the same guy came back and did this series. And he's an immensely powerful character, but not set up at all in this. Like, you just, okay. I don't know. This movie also is like nonstop exposition as well. Like it's just literally go somewhere, find a thing, talk to people for 10 minutes, go somewhere, find a thing, talk to people for 10 minutes. And then Wanda finds them and they fight again. And then just the loop continues, And sometimes the fight is in a hallway. Sometimes it's, on a street. Sometimes it's, underground. Who knows? Right? But it's all the same. The entire movie.
There were so many things that actually happened, but it was so incredibly dull that I barely remember the plot points here.
Yeah.
And I saw this movie yesterday.
Yeah, that's brutal. I mean, I at least saw the movie on like Thursday of last week, so it's been a couple days for me. But no, I don't know. This doesn't bode well for me for the MCU.
It's been a sinking ship for a while creatively over there.
Yeah,
and I don't know. Have you guys watched Moon Knight? The only thing I've seen from it is
I've watched a few episodes. I haven't watched all of it yet.
I have seen all of it. Paul, did you watch Moon Knight?
No, I
thought you would hate to watch Moon Knight, but
I almost got pulled in because I love Oscar Isaacs.
Oscar Isaacs is good in it.
It almost got me. It almost got me, but I'm glad I didn't because all the reviews I'm seeing is terrible.
No, it's. I'm sorry, Jen. I won't spoil the specifics, but the conclusion of this season is deeply disappointing. Like truly, truly disappointing. And in a similar way to me that like, it's not maddening. It's not angering. It's just like, okay, sure. Who cares? Like it's about the amount of emotion I can muster for the sort of the end of this. It's like, yeah, all right. And that has Oscar Isaac and it's got, Ethan Hawke and actually F. Murray Abraham plays the voice of the Khonshu, the god, the Egyptian god. Yeah. So like Moon Knight's basically like the avatar of the Egyptian god of the night, essentially. And F. Murray Abraham plays the god, which is cool. But look, I mean, it's all pretty mediocre at this point. I don't even know what's coming out, by the way. What's next on the
Thor.
I guess Love and Thunder is probably next.
Yeah, I think Love and Thunder.
Got Agatha Harkness TV show because they made a good song.
What are they gonna do with that? Because she was the villain, and then they went hard on Wanda being the villain. So like, are they gonna try to make her a hero? Like, what are we doing?
They're gonna pull a Loki, and it's gonna be terrible.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be great. Moon Knight, Doctor Strange. Oh, great! Yeah, the Kamala Khan Miss Marvel show is coming out. So
you were so unexcited, you yawned while giving us that news.
I had to. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever is coming out on November 11th, but
that'll make a lot of money.
But they're not recasting. Well, it might make some money, but they're not recasting Chadwick Boseman. So, yeah, I don't really know what they're going to do. That was interesting to me too. Now that I look back on it, so Letitia Wright, who played Shuri in the first Black Panther, like there's comic precedent for Shuri to be the Black Panther. I mean, and by the way, in a rare instance of people actually talking about this, the Black Panther is actually a mantle that is worn by multiple people. So it is not weird for multiple people to be a Black Panther, because it's really just the defender of Wakanda or whatever. And there's some mystical stuff that's sort of associated with it. But like Shuri, the woman who plays Shuri, Letitia Wright, like got like in tons of trouble tweeting about COVID, though. I don't know if you guys remember this, but she had some stuff about like forced vaccination that like apparently put her at odds with the studios. And so I don't know if they're going to do that or not. I don't really know what's going on.
She deviated from the script. Unacceptable.
She did. Oh, great. So then they're going to introduce Riri Williams, which is horrible. And then it's going to be She-Hulk, which, all right. And
what happens to the actual Hulk?
Oh,
what is he up to?
He's doing science, maybe. He's doing science.
He's still science? I don't know. I just...
well, I don't know.
All this stuff, the choices that they're making baffles me.
Yeah.
When they haven't even touched X-Men, and they bought it. They have the rights to it.
Yeah.
Why aren't they just doing that? I don't...
Yeah, that's... I don't know, man. Well, here's what I think, though. Here's what I'm suspicious of. So the way you could bring... Well, see, this doesn't quite make sense to me, though. Like, you could bring back X-Men pretty easily, and Fantastic Four, if you went towards... There's a comic run called Secret Wars, which they've kind of set up a little bit, because there's like the Skrulls, if you remember the green, like Ben Mendelsohn's character from Captain Marvel. The Skrulls are having like this intergalactic war that in the 90s, Marvel did a whole run where like all of their big teams and characters, Spider-Man, X-Men, Avengers, etc., all got sort of sucked into this war, and then it ended up in this like big sort of space thing. And you could totally do that if you're going from like, Guardians of the Galaxy. There's a thing called the Marvels. I'm not really sure what that is. They're re-releasing X-Men. What are they doing? Holy cow. I'm looking at a list here. They're doing like another animated series that's in the style of 1997's X-Men, which is strange. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what else is going on. Yeah, I just don't care about any of this. Like, I'm going through like the future of this, like Armor Wars, which is, I guess, going to be War Machine, Echo, which is like the spinoff from Hawkeye, Ironheart, which is just a horrible character. Yeah, and then they're doing Secret Invasion. So Secret Invasion, so it's like undated Secret Invasion project. That makes sense to me. Like, that's how you would get X-Men involved. That's how you get Fantastic Four involved. But I don't think I want to go on the journey to get there. No. And I don't really care. So...
No. I'll posit this question. Was the streaming wars the worst thing that could have happened to Marvel as a creative product?
Maybe. But I don't know. I mean, I think that a lot of Marvel's properties lend themselves well to miniseries. They lend themselves well to TV. X-Men really does, actually. X-Men would be great as a miniseries, or it'd be great as a TV show. Especially a really well-produced TV show. Because it's a big team, first of all. And so you get a lot of characters. And X-Men was always very... it's a little bit like Big Brother, right? Like X-Men always had a little bit of this vibe of like soap opera, all these teenagers and young adults are living in this mansion together, and it's relationships and, who's dating who and all that kind of stuff. And you could pull that into a TV show and make it cool. But yeah, I don't know. What I'm worried about, here's my question though. Like, what does Kevin Feige do next? And what happens when he just becomes president of Disney or whatever? Like, does any of this, does this all just break at that point? Or he goes off and becomes,
I think it's already broken. I mean, we'll see how this holds. Doctor Strange obviously is I guess Thor as well too. I mean, like they're obviously doing fine, but Thor's theoretically going away. This will be the last movie. I can't imagine he would keep doing more.
Probably.
They're going to make another Doctor Strange movie, obviously. They've opened the third eye. Jeez. Oh, my God.
Yeah, that looked awful.
Yeah, it did.
That looked truly awful. I don't understand how that looks so bad, honestly. Like,
this whole movie looked terrible.
Yeah, I know, but that's not a hard effect to do. Like on the standards of digital visual effects, like doing another eye in somebody's forehead. I mean, not to get into the weeds on this, but basically you need some motion tracking dots and stuff like that. And then you need just some good color matching. And once you have that, you can have eyeball right in the middle of the forehead. It's really not, you could even enhance it with a little bit of prosthetics to like actually create like an additional ridge and some texture and stuff. It would not be a hard effect to create. I guarantee you that people at like Corridor Digital are turning around right now going like, we'll build a better Doctor Strange effect and put it on YouTube like today. And it'll take them like a week. So I don't really understand. I don't understand how that one went that badly. Yeah, it was like the very last shot that they were working on or something.
It was like, oh, here's the big twist at the end because here comes another Doctor Strange movie. But this whole movie was terrible, bad. And Marvel's known for having their CGI battles, but even the green screen stuff was bad.
Yeah.
The CGI was you could, were they ever actually talking to each other in the same room? I don't know.
No, I think that was a big problem with this movie, right? Like there were a ton of reshoots. And obviously almost the entire movie was shot green screen. And it was the rumors that I've heard are that basically like the whole movie was redone and actors had no idea who they were interacting with, like, and stuff just getting cut together a lot of the time. And it feels that way. I mean, you can feel that throughout the film. I don't know.
I think the best thing I can say about this movie is that Elizabeth Olsen was legitimately scary at some points, and it's a shame they blew this opportunity on this movie to make her the ultimate bad guy. Yeah. This really screamed to me like they're sitting after this witch is sitting after demon things. You could have just used that. Could have been the whole movie, that premise, and then save Wanda for something else. But yeah, now I mean, I don't know. It just seemed like a waste.
Well, and honestly, like I even think like without revealing that, you could have made it almost the entire movie and made it a third act twist or something to even reveal that it's a magic user that is behind all of this. Like you could have done it thinking that it was some interdimensional monster, right? Like, because that's what it's set up to be at the beginning of the movie, right? Like the beginning of the movie is Doctor Strange's nightmare, except for it's in fact a real sequence that America Chavez is with alternate universe Doctor Strange, and they are escaping some horrifying demon thing, but the previous Doctor Strange movie also introduced this with Dormammu, right? So Dormammu is like an interdimensional being that's like this insane sort of Lovecraftian otherworld demon, whatever. And so like I would totally buy that, right? Well, they're in another universe and there's some horrible Dormammu-like guy that's after them. Okay. And if I went the entire movie believing that was what was after her, only to be and with Wanda like helping them the entire way through, like, oh, what if let me help you channel your powers a little bit to get to this universe. And secretly, of course, Wanda has her own reasons for going to that universe or to this other universe or whatever. And can you maybe open a doorway to this universe and let's see what happens. And if we didn't reveal Wanda's role in the creation of the monster until the very end or another movie, that would have been cool in my mind. But like to reveal it immediately and to just kind of blow her on that stuff, just meh.
This whole movie was
missed opportunity,
wasted opportunities.
Yeah,
just a waste.
All right, let's end this one here. Safe to say 0 stars for me. Jen?
0 stars. Just don't. And if you're going to, wait until it's like No extra charge on Disney Plus.
Free-ish, yes.
Free.
Yeah. Paul?
Yeah, no stars. Wait, stream it. Or don't.
Stream it. Or don't. You really
Save
won't.
yourself the 2.5 hours.
I was going to say you won't miss anything, but knowing Marvel, you probably will miss something if you do that. But I'm starting to feel okay with like skipping some of these and then just being like, well, you know, I'll just not have the information I need the next time I watch something, or it'll be fine.
Or they'll just gloss over it but like Doctor Strange just glossed over the entire Wanda TV show and it's like, I'm not here to talk about.
Yeah, it's fine. We always knew you would do the right thing in the end. Okay. Sure. No. All right. Thank you, everybody, so much for listening to Behind the Scenes. If you are a supporter of the show on Patreon or Subscribestar, stick around. We've got a bonus episode for you. And that you can check out. Of course, it'll be posted on Patreon or Subscribestar, or I think we'll maybe post it on the private channel on Discord. If you're not yet a supporter, consider supporting the show. You get bonus episodes of the podcast, access to private Discord servers and things of that nature. And we would love you forever for it. So thank you very much. And we will see you next time.